Hey everybody, it's AdamHarry, and I'm here with
Larry.
We're from BoLS, and today we have the new Broken Realms Morathi book. This is the new big thing for Warhammer Age of Sigmar, right?
It is a big, huge deal. It's a giant narrative campaign. It's got a ton of rules in it, and it's got like 60 pages of narrative. And big things happen in this book.
This is a big deal. This is part one of the Broken Realms, by the way. There are going to be more parts. But for right now, we're going to focus on Broken Realms Morathi. If you can make a quick comparison to a previous event, how big are we talking? Are we talking like end times? Are we talking like Psychic Awakening from 40k? How would you parse this one out?
Big things are happening in this. This is only volume 1 of it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's not like they're going to end the world or anything.
Okay.
So it's not like end times, but way more stuff that matters is happening in this than happened in end times.
Okay.
So it's like, this is, I would say this is like Age of Sigmar's version of, say, like the God Beasts.
Yeah, God Beast,
series,
Soul War,
or like Rise of the Primarch, where big important things are actually happening.
Okay. So this is an important lore-wise thing. There's also some really great rules updates, which we'll get here at the end. But let's take a look at the table of contents real fast. Here we go. So table of contents wise, there are 3 different acts in this book. It's 60 plus pages of lore. So again, it's kind of rare for GW to put, I guess, that much lore. Half of the book.
Yeah, there's normally like 20 to 30 pages of lore in an average book. So this is definitely, they're really emphasizing that this is a narrative campaign.
Right. This is a big deal. A lot of major changes here. I mean, we saw similar stuff with like Wrath of the Everchosen, maybe a little bit with the Ossiarch Bone Reapers Soul Wars tie-in, but not. This is a multi-part series that's going to have some ramifications on down the line. We have a list of characters here. Real fast, I'm going to read the acts off, and then we'll kind of go through these. We're not going to go page by page, but we are going to do some summaries or try to summarize as much as we can here. So first one is the Act 1 is the Blood of Cain. Act 2, Rise of the Goddess. Spoilers. And Act 3, Anvil Guard and Darkness. From here on out, spoiler warning. If you don't want to be spoiled, stop watching the video. No hard feelings. But we are going to be talking real heavily into spoilers and for the event. So.
Yeah. This is, again, there's 60 pages of this. We're giving you the really short and dirty Cliff Notes version of it. But I'm going to take you guys through it. Okay, so we're going to start off with Act 1. I want to talk about this prophecy real quick, too. Oh, go ahead.
Because this prophecy, if you're not familiar, like, real fast overview recap where we are in the timeline, right? Soul Wars happened. The Ossiarch Bone Reapers arrived on the scene. They led an attack on the 8 points, and they managed to take the Death Gate from Chaos, right? Archaon and Catacross got into a fight. Archaon technically won by quote-unquote killing Catacross, but then his soul was basically bamfed over into a new body where there's a hall of hundreds of Catacrosses ready to keep fighting, and the 8 points is now being called the All Points again because they're no longer under Chaos's control. Other stuff going on in the realms. Slaanesh has been breaking the chains, or the chains have been breaking for Slaanesh. The Dark Prince is captured in the hidden gloaming between the realms of light and shadow, and the chains have been breaking, but he's using an illusion, his magic, his chaos magic, to cover up the chains breaking, but they are getting weaker by the minute, by the day. This whole prophecy, real quick, talks about some things, and the one I want to zoom in on real quick is this one. When the serpent's head splits in 2 beneath the glare of the crimson moon, there shall then shall the newborn one come forth. Who do you think the serpent's head is, Larry?
I don't know. Let's see.
So this again will involve heavily with the Daughters of Cain, the disciple, the Hedonites of Slaanesh, and Cities of Sigmar is involved. The Idoneth Deepkin are involved. It's a lot of factions in this book, and this is just part 1. So let's jump over to the Blood of Cain. So
all right.
What's the overall?
All right. So what is going on in Blood of Cain? We're talking about Act 1. First of all, we have this thing, Varanthax's Maw. Varanthax is a huge giant, like
that was a god beast.
Yeah, a god beast who's dead and sits in the there it is. And basically, after Archaon defeats Catacross, he does not go and attack him and lay siege to it. He disappears into the all points and is very quiet.
Yeah.
And everyone is like, hey.
Yeah, there's a bit of a stalemate going on, right? Because every time a Chaos Warrior dies, they harvest the bones to make more Ossiarch Bone Reapers. And while the Ossiarch, they can't really push any further right now, Catacross is studying stuff. They got time on their side, so they're cool with waiting too.
So
Archaon's retreated.
So he's busy and he's doing something, and no one knows what he's doing. And what he's actually doing is deep underneath the mines that are underneath Archaon's fortress. Is they've discovered a huge vein of Varanite.
Varanite mines.
And Varanite is very much the Age of Sigmar version of like blackstone.
Yeah.
It's kind of it is a material that is it is chaos in solid form.
Yeah.
So it can be crafted into weapons. It's super dangerous to work with, and its big power is that it corrupts anything it touches. So you have a sword made out of it. You swing it at some guy, and he instantly mutates and turns into a bunch of crazy stuff, and then he dies.
We've seen the Varanite show up in other weapons. The Varangard, for example. Real quick too, this map is a little confusing if you're not paying attention. This is actually a 3D slice. So you've got the little XYZ axis here, and this is a 3D slice. We're actually looking at the underground of Varanthrax's Maul. Just FYI. So keep going. We've got the Varanite mines. That's the new material, the new MacGuffin, right?
So Archaon's plan is he's going to mine a lot of this Varanite, and he's going to use it to corrupt the realm gates, so that they will cease functioning, or they will fail. And in general, what he's really trying to do is he wants to use it to corrupt the realm gate that is headed to Azure, that has been sealed by Sigmar, so that he can directly invade Azure from directly. Just hey, here's all my armies. So that is his secret plan.
Varanthraite, they melt it down and it becomes molten rock again, but it's molten chaos.
Unfortunately, Morathi has spies everywhere because they're all shadow spies.
Sure.
And she has many spies in the all points, so she finds out about it and she goes, hey, I have a dirty plan.
Yep.
Also, I can't allow... she needs the Varanite for her own special purposes, and she knows that at the same time, she can't let it fall into the hands of Archaon. So she... dresses up, gets as fancy as she can, and she gets all diplomacy style. And she goes and visits Sigmar himself. They have a big war council. She brings all her people.
The war clouds gather.
Sigmar brings his people, and they basically decide we can't directly invade the all points and win. We don't have enough forces. Just there's too much chaos. But what we can do is we can do a strike force. So we're going to do a strike force. We're going to have a larger force attack the all points as a distraction army, and then we're going to have a smaller strike force directly led by the best Stormcasts and the best of Morathi's troops, led by Morathi herself.
Right.
They're going to go destroy the mines.
Okay, so the plan is...
That's the plan.
Morathi's teamed up with Sigmar. The Stormcast and Dodger Kane are going to go hit the mines and do what they need to do.
All right.
However,
it's
Morathi, and there's always plans within plans, right?
Cut to the B story.
Yeah.
The B story is there is this thing called the Okarian Lantern.
Okarian Lantern.
The Okarian Lantern is a lantern that was built by
Teclis, right?
By Teclis.
Yeah.
It was built by Teclis, and it is a lantern that attracts souls.
Right.
So,
this was used by the elves pantheon to initially to gather the souls.
To pull the souls.
Right?
Correct. It was created as part of the plan to entrap Slaanesh. So once they had Slaanesh chained up, they used the lantern. The lantern was the actual thing that was used to coax all of the elf souls out.
Okay.
And then after it was done, it was lost, and really it wasn't lost. It was stolen by the earliest of the Ivanith Deepkin, who hid it because they knew that if Teclis could ever get it again, he could find them and destroy them.
So basically,
they stole
real
it
quick, this is the B plot, but not. This is also important to the story.
Correct.
But essentially, again, if you remember the history of the Ivanith Deepkin, Teclis views them as a mistake.
Right, and he wants to
half souls or whatever.
Right.
He wants to kind of hit the reset button.
Yeah, he wants to destroy them all and remake them.
Yeah, he kind of did that with the Lumineth Realm Lords, but
correct.
But whatever, the Deepkin are still around, but they have this magic lantern.
So what is happening is its location is discovered.
Okay.
By Black Ark Corsairs who tell Morathi.
Yep.
Because of course. And she goes and gets a bunch of her her underwater scuba strike team, Task Force Scuba Snake.
Right.
And they go underwater and they find the lantern and they take it.
That's the real name, by the way. No, it's not.
It is not actually Strike Force Scuba Snake.
Yeah.
But that's a cool Strike Force name.
Yeah. So that's the other subplot.
Right, that is the other subplot. Basically, over the next couple pages, the big invasion happens.
Yeah. Big fight.
They get in there. Big fight. They start fighting, and then the big climax of Act 1 is they get down in there. Of course, the Daughters of Cain have their cauldrons with them all the time.
Yep.
The interesting thing is, if you've gone back, if you remember how Cauldrons of Blood worked, even all the way back in Warhammer Fantasy, there's this weird thing about Cauldrons of Blood where they're never empty. Like,
right.
You can just keep pouring stuff into them, and they never overflow. And people are like, "What's up with that?" That's because all the cauldrons are linked magically into the Mother Cauldron, which is in Morathi's headquarters.
It's kind of like the Green Lantern battery.
It's basically one giant magically connected series of cauldrons.
Right.
Anything you pour into one cauldron is in all of them.
Instead of Green Lantern core energy, though, it's blood.
So what Morathi does is, of course, because she's Morathi,
you
don't trust Morathi. She's like Loki. You just never trust her.
It's true. She's always got a plan. She always
got a plan. She's always going to double cross you.
Yeah.
So they get down in there. They find all the Varanite, and then she pours it into the cauldron. Mm-hmm. And
what is she doing while they're in there?
The first thing they're doing is, of course, they're being attacked. So she weaves a large illusion that's showing that all of her forces are gloriously fighting and defending.
Yeah.
But they're actually not. What they're actually doing is they're positioning all the cauldrons and they're pouring all the Varanite into them, which then teleports it out of the all. It teleports it completely away, and then once they're done,
because it was molten,
it is all back under her control in her headquarters in
the Magic Cauldron of Blood.
In the Mother Cauldron, and then at that point they leave. They're just like, out of here, bye, and leave all the Stormcasts who get hacked up and die.
Yep.
So double crossed,
and
that basically takes us to the end of Act 1.
Yep.
We're going to go to Act 2 now, Rise of the Goddess. What basically happens in Act 2, we are now into it all takes place in the Dominion of Shadrach, which is Morathi's kind of headquarters.
Yep.
Her headquarters city is Hagnar.
Hagnar. And again, I just want to call out the maps in this book. They're fantastic as always. So
we're going to tell you what happens here. So first thing, a war council of Idoneth Deepkin is called, and they're like, hey, Morathi stole the lantern. So this is a problem for us.
Yeah.
And if we don't get it back, our entire race can be wiped out. So they say, okay, great. The king,
this is where they come back in.
King Volturnos
yeah.
says, all right, we are invading and we're going to get the lantern back. I don't know what she's doing with it, but I don't care. She can't have it.
Right.
And they invade. There's also a bunch of Slanesh cultists who are just kind of in and around. They kind of picked her scent up at the all points and they followed her back. So they're like, something's up with her.
And of course, the Heat Knights of Slanesh have been searching for Slanesh for a long time. They again, if you remember from Wrath of the Everchosen, Archaon actually found out where Slanesh was and retreated because of the invasion from the Osiarch Bone Reapers. So again, kind of picking up that story arc, that storyline again. The Heat Knights are still around, causing trouble. Right. So, but we have now the forces of the Slaneshi Heat Knights and the Deepkin closing in on Hagnar.
All right, let's go a couple more pages forward. Basically, big giant battle ensues. Welcome to the world of Warhammer. Everyone's fighting everybody.
Yep.
Everyone is there. There's a big giant fight outside of the castle. The ritual starts. Dun. So, what happens during the ritual? One more page.
Yep.
Right here is. The Varanite is poured. Morathi has the Varanite in the cauldron. She works her magic around it and then she steps into the cauldron, which infuses her with the power of chaos and transformation.
Yep.
And at the same time, it is revealed that for thousands of years, anytime that the Daughters of Cain captured a chaos champion or someone important from chaos, they didn't kill them, they kept them.
Yeah.
Because she had a special purpose for them.
Yeah.
And today is the special purpose.
Yeah. And on top of that, she's also got the lantern.
Right. So she has the lantern with her. She is in the cauldron. She steps into it. She's now effectively one with chaos in its physical form. And then they kill all the prisoners.
All the chaos guys.
All the chaos prisoners. Yeah. All the chaos prisoners are killed, which basically opens up warp links to between the cauldron and Slanesh. And she steps into the cauldron and emerges inside of Slanesh's chained body.
Wow.
Which is crazy. So, She's inside there. She has the lantern. She uses the lantern and immediately starts all of the souls of the elves that are still contained in there start to flock to her. She, of course, ignores all the scrubs. She has no interest in those. She's looking for elf kings because she needs maximum power if she wants to become a god.
She's looking for that divine light
and
of
this,
the souls.
And this is where
finds them.
And this is where it gets really interesting. And we have a big giant callback to
this is the old High Elf
to Warhammer Fantasy High Elves. And if you will remember, in Warhammer Fantasy High Elves, we have a big listing here of all the Phoenix Kings. So these are all of the kings. And all of these most bright souls are still in Slaanesh, and they all flock to her.
Yep.
These guys. And she eats them.
She eats them all.
She eats them. She eats, Belshazzar, Calidor, all these people. All of the greatest souls she consumes, which gives her, effectively turns her into a god, into a goddess. Except she makes one mistake. At the very end, the last of the souls who she finds is almost certainly, as it is, he's not named specifically, but it's clearly Anarion.
Yeah, if you read here too, it says, where's it at? Right here. On the threshold of her ascension, Morathi hesitated because she recognizes the soul as the one she loved. Who is the one she loved? Anarion. Right. Why? Because they were married.
They were married, and Anarion was the original Phoenix King.
He's the father of Malekith.
Malekith. So she hesitates, and while she hesitates, Anarion pulls out a big giant
flame blade out of nowhere.
Turns into a flaming sword of his soul, and he cuts her in half.
Boom!
He cuts her in half, and then the whole thing falls apart, and she is ejected back out of Slaanesh through the portal back into the cauldron. She flops onto the ground. At that exact moment, the Idoneth Deepkin King has broken into the throne room. He pulls out his big giant spear and he destroys the cauldron.
Okay.
So it's over.
The
ritual's
done.
Is over. Also, during this giant, as the link is cut, a large body of energy also emerges, flies straight up, blows through the roof, disappears over the horizon.
Dun dun
dun dun dun.
So
that takes us to the end of Act 2.
When the serpent's head splits in two beneath the glare of the crimson moon, then shall the newborn one come forth.
All right.
Dun dun dun.
Now we get to Act.
And by the way, the ritual is essentially successful.
That's
this
correct.
Has split her in two forms now.
Right.
Essentially.
But that is her own fault.
Yeah. And that's we're getting to Act 3 now.
Her ex-husband got her.
Yep. Well, there you go.
All right, Act 3, Anvilgard in Darkness.
There's the cauldron shadow.
We're going to go through this really quick. Anvilgard, you will remember, that is one of the cities of Sigmar.
Yep.
It is kind of it's
kind of the dark elf.
It's the pirate one.
Yeah.
So what happens is Anvilgard is put under siege, and she attacks it. It is attacked in force, led by her personally. Both of her forms are there, so she now walks around in both of her forms. They have to do weird special instructions. They can't kill any Stormcast Eternals because then they'll be lightninged back, and Sigmar will find out. So they have to poison and capture them all while they're taking the city. They successfully take the city.
They do.
So the Daughters of Cain, Morathi, now has a permanent, bastion.
In Azure.
In Azure, the head of the Stormcast Eternals is captured, and so two important things end this entire narrative. The first thing that ends this narrative is Kaiser von Brecht. He is the head of the Stormcasts. He is freed, and thus is able to get word back to Sigmar that they have been betrayed, and that Morathi now, is a god and has taken one of Sigmar's cities. He is also freed by someone who is described as this. He's described as a figure wreathed in shadow. He could see the creature's eyes, pinpricks of crimson light that bored into him, and then a pair of bat-like wings unfurled, and the creature flew away. So,
I'm sorry, it's not Azure, it's Akashi.
Okay, actually. So probably that's Malarion, who's Morathi's son.
Probably.
Probably freed him so that he could get word to Sigmar. And then here is the big deal. Spoiler warning for everybody. We're going to turn this page. This is the conclusion of the book. Boom. The crazy ball of energy that was freed and flew across off to the horizon lands, and it is the newborn form of Slaanesh that took the opportunity to get out of its imprison. It lands and it begins to speak to all of its children. All of the armies of Slaanesh who've been following it find it, and basically Slaanesh is back on.
Slaanesh is back.
Slaanesh is back.
And I don't know what kind of form it's going to take.
Right, because
it's weird.
It's creepy looking.
Yeah.
All right.
We're excited about it. I mean, Slaanesh is back.
And so, I mean, big, huge things have happened. That ends the narrative part of it.
All right, next up, we're going to tackle the rules section here real fast. The Broken Realms storyline that we just kind of went through is what the whole campaign section is for, right? You can use these rules in here to play through the entire storyline that Larry just kind of briefly summarized for us. So you've got new rules for Stormcast, you've got new rules for Deepkin, Daughters of Cain, you've got some chaos in there. So it's kind of a big deal. We do get some new rules for Realm of Battle if you want to fight in either of these realms.
Very cool.
We also get one for the 8 points. So that's cool.
That's a lot of rules.
Yeah,
maybe 8 points.
It's got some interesting stuff in there. We're not going to cover it too much, but I want to keep moving here. You do get quite a few battle plans. Now, again,
these are all the important battles that I just narratively described to you, so you can go through all of those.
Hagenal Bay. There's the inner chamber that we talked about, where the king smashes the cauldron. You get to fight that one out too. They're pretty interesting too. They have different, table sizes or forces and stuff like that. There's the Under Tunnels fight. I like that this book also, just as we're flipping through this, it did actually give Cities of Sigmar some love. Yeah,
Cities
it really
of Sigmar
did.
is a book that kind of appeared and kind of came and went. But so they're even working those cities as important things. In this campaign.
Exactly, and that goes right along with the Battletome updates here. We have, again, Daughters of Cain, Cities of Sigmar, Stormcast Eternals, Deepkin, Slaves of Darkness, and new pitch battle profiles for everybody too. So let me dive in here. The big ones here, in my opinion, are the Daughters of Cain and the Iden of Deepkin books. So those are some of the older books that haven't gotten a lot of love, but now we're seeing them get that. And again, quick updates for Cities of Sigmar. We'll get to that one too. They have a new allegiance, which is the Xanthar Kai. We've seen some of these rules already. We're not going to spend too much time going over them. Just know that from a narrative standpoint, each one of their members has 3 drops of blood from Cain, which is kind of cool. It's Morathi's super secret weapon that she's been building. This new allegiance, and they're really tough. They have some cool abilities, extra attacks and things like that.
And then you get a handful of battalions.
Yeah. So, and again, this, if you notice here too, the organization for the Vampiric Guard here has Morathi, Cain, the Shadow Queen, and then 1 to 2 units of Bloodwrack Medusae or Melusai, Iron Scales, and then 2 to 3 units of Blood Sisters or Blood Stalkers. So, yes, you're not reading that wrong. There's 2 of them. And speaking of 2 of them, here you go.
There they are. So she has now been split apart into her 2 godly incarnations that are both, as I said, it's 2 physical vessels, but 1 soul shared between them.
They actually have that special rule, 1 soul, 2 bodies. And we're not going to do a line-by-line comparison, but I do want to show off the fact that you do have the 2 pages of rules here. They are different. So these are the new updated battle scrolls or war scrolls, for Morathi. She is points updated combined. She now costs 600 points, but you get to field both of them at the same time now.
Right. Very cool.
The weird kind of thing about it is she has the 1 soul, 2 bodies rule, right? Anytime the Morathi Cain model takes wounds, those are transferred over to the Shadow Queen. The Shadow Queen is the big model versus the little one, which is the caster version, the more I'm going to punch you in the face version, right? She still has Heart of Iron, though. The Iron Heart of Cain. If you remember that rule, it limits the number of wounds she can take per turn, right?
Yep.
To 3. Well, if she takes 3 wounds, they go to her immediately, stop taking wounds.
Yep.
If she takes any more wounds, they go to her and are immediately gone.
Yep.
So it's this weird kind of protection thing again. they both have a 4-up save, so it's not like there's an easier target here.
Right.
But you just have the ability to cast a bunch of spells still, and an ability to really punch you in the face. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's like the biggest change in my opinion between the two of them. Moving on, here's where we're talking about the cities of Sigmar. They get the new massive War Scroll Battalion. This is the other ones get the massive one. This one is the smaller one for the I think these were the Morathi Loyalists, the Shadow Host, I believe. This is the Dark Elf one on the Dragon, and a unit of Dreadspills and a unit of Dark Shards. So
yeah, and these follow Morathi.
These follow Morathi, and then there's 2 more cities that are added here. The other one got the big battalion, I believe. So they have their own new battle traits, command traits. They have the narcotics, which if you remember, they do drugs to get boost in battle, and more artifacts of power. Then Huron battle traits as well. All of those things. Stormcasts. Sorry, this is who gets the big battalion. I got that backward. Anyway, the new Storm Hosts, Celestial Sentinels here. They have a new Stormkeep thing, right? They have these 3 different Stormkeep. That's the new kind of thing is their Stormkeep. But the new battle battalions here. These are kind of small, right? Lord Celestin here, 2 to 5 Stormcast Eternals for this one. This one's some Paladins and Justicars and Liberators. Here's the kicker: Stormkeep Brotherhood. This is the Mega Battalion I was talking about. Their ability is cool. You can add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made by models from this War Scroll Battalion that target enemy units that are wholly or partially within your territory. So these guys are the defenders of the thing. That's why it's the Stormkeep, right? But look at what it takes to put this one in. 1 Warden to the Stormkeep War Scroll Battalion, 3+ Storm Tower Garrison War Scroll Battalions, and 0 to 3 of the following War Scroll Battalions. So you have to take a bunch of this stuff to unlock this one. I don't know if it's going to get used competitively, but that's a really powerful ability.
Also, when we see some of these things like Von Brecht's Black Watch and the
Stormkeep Troll and this one,
the Elf one that we just saw.
This one.
These guys, these things are specifically box sets. They are selling these.
Yep.
So this is you just go buy it and you get all those models.
Yeah,
so,
I think that those
they're
will be
ready to go.
Really popular options too. The Deepkin. This is another big change. Again, one of the older books didn't get a lot of updates until recently. Well, this book in particular. We have new mount traits, which are really cool. And we also have updates to the alloplexes. So real fast, I just want to show these off side by side because we can do that. Here we go. Alloplexes. Let me make sure. Yep. Okay, so some of the big changes here, you'll notice that there's a 2-inch move bump. They still have 4-up save. Wounds are the same, braveries are the same. They have a lot more rules here compared to here. So they still fly. They still have bloodthirsty predators, but the rule has changed. Now it is add 1 to the attack's characteristics of the unit's ferocious bite if it is within 3 inches of an enemy model, of any enemy models that have any wounds allocated to them, or they have lost any models that turn. It's blood in the water, right? They're sharks. They get the extra attack, and they also have entangled.
Yeah, so they can shoot you with nets and slow you down.
Yep. So the net thing got better. The next thing up is the 2 changes to the Eidolons. We're not going to go over those, but note that they did change. They have new rules. But the other one that I'm really excited about is the Leviathan here. Again, big changes here. Profile-wise, it shifted quite a bit. Move speed went from a profile that changed over time to just a flat 10-inch move. The wounds, still 16. The save actually changed, though. It goes from a 3-up all the time down to one that goes down over time. So the more wounds it takes, gets a little bit worse. However, it hits really hard. It starts with a 2-up save, by the way. So that's actually kind of a buff until it takes 8 wounds. So
they're tougher to start.
Right, tougher to start. And they hit way harder. Their jaws went from 1 attack to 2 attacks base. If you roll a 6 to hit, it's automatic 3 damage. It used to be if you roll a 6, it was automatic 6 damage. So they split that over 2 attacks to make it a little bit more reliable. The kicker is, it's still a total of 6 mortal wounds that you can generate with those attacks, unless you're attacking another monster and you roll a 6, then it generates 6 damage. So theoretically, you could do 12 damage from Chompy's Bite here. So the Leviathan, really cool stuff going on there. The Void Drum is also different and better in my opinion. You still get the +1 save rolls, so it's no longer counts as cover. You just get a flat. So if something ignores cover bonuses, this isn't affected by that. They also get to add 1 to hit rolls for the marching unit. So a really cool change there. The Blood Hunt Surf Box unit is another battalion that's got another starter box you can pick up too. So that's what's cool about them. Then we get into the idolaters, excuse me, idolaters here. This is for the Slaves of Darkness. They have some new changes there, mostly focused. It's really generalized too. So they get Gresh's Iron Reapers, a new box set.
Yep. Also you can buy.
Yep, and new rolls there too. So pretty cool stuff. And then we get to the pitch battle profiles here. Again, Morathi split up, total of 600 points. You have to take them together. If you take one, you have to take the other one. But that is Broken Realms Morathi in a nutshell. Larry, any final thoughts on this book?
It's crazy. It's cool that they are definitely doing. They're mixing things up with the lore. They're doing big, huge things. Morathi is basically a demigod, or
she's a god now.
At this point, a demigod,
yeah.
And it's cool that again they're tying it back and they're doing lots of things. It seems like when Age of Sigmar started, for its first couple of years, they were very much like, this is its own thing, and Warhammer Fantasy never existed.
Yeah.
And now they're much more comfortable kind of leaving those breadcrumbs between both the systems and making it kind of one continuous history.
Yeah.
There's lots of callbacks, and I really like to see that. And, I think that this is definitely set up to where we've seen, she made the first move, and I think it's clear that we're going to be seeing the other sub-factions of the elves are going to be making counter moves. So I can't wait to see where this is going to go.
I don't even think it's just going to be the other sub-factions of the elves. I think it's going to be everybody. I think we're going to see everybody reacting to Morathi's big change here, to shaking stuff up. Again, it's called Broken Realms, and it certainly sounds like they are trying to mix up some of the aforementioned kind of battle lines, right? Because a lot of these areas, there's a lot of bleed over between like which forces are attacking where and stuff like that. Maybe they're trying to break up the realms in that regard. So like you might see, I don't know, destruction guys in the realm of life. You might see, chaos strike out to the realm of death. I don't know what we're going to see long term here, but this opens a lot of possibilities. But the biggest thing, in my opinion, other than Morathi, is Slaanesh is back.
Slaanesh is
so
out.
Reborn Slaanesh. We'll see what the GW does with it. I mean, they've got a whole Hedonite line. They've got a bunch of really cool models and kits out for it. We might be in time for a revamp. I
mean, I think this is the 5th year that Age of Sigmar is turning 5 now, or 6. I mean, it's been out there a little while. So I mean, they took their time.
But
Slaanesh is back.
Slaanesh is back. I wonder how the old horned rat's feeling about that.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, had his spot on the Pantheon for a while, and now maybe not. We'll see what happens. But that is Morathi, Broken Realms. We're both pumped about it. But that's gonna be it for our video today. Thanks so much for watching. I'm AdamHarry.
And I'm Larry.
We're from Bell Lost Souls. Thanks for watching. Click to subscribe. Check out more videos. And thanks for watching.